Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another unit review, and quite a late one because this really did not pique my interest before, and it definitely didn't pique my interest after I actually saw the units, and really it was just pull because it was a Mock King. That's pretty much it. But now we're going to talk about the FF11 units that were added, and I will break this up into two segments. 2 units first and 1 unit in the next video, and I'm doing this all before the Hearthstone expansion to get this done and out of the way. But we can only put this off for so long. So, first of all, let us talk about Joachim, or Joachim, or however you pronounce this unit's name. This is going to be a short one, I have a feeling. First of all, I would like to highlight what an absolute boring unit this is, both visually and move-wise. First of all, his animations are just nothing special. His attack animation and victory animation are particularly lame, but he has a good death animation. So let's talk about this unit. First of all, I'll show off what we have equipped to him. I was really unsure of how to build this unit, and quite frankly, it doesn't really matter because he is freaking fodder for this event. That's right, he is just Mog King fodder, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt and give him a quick look over. First of all, 27, his Trust Mastery is a 27 attack, 116 spirit, two-handed harp, with a 30% light resistance thrown on for good measure. Is this useful? Probably not. The only units that particularly would want a harp may be Roy, but I don't think you necessarily need this one. Aiko gets more with her own TMR, which is already an instrument, and Lyra is the only one who really needs spirit out there, so is this any good? Probably not. Maybe you could put it on a Warrior of Light if you were going into a light-based battle, but seems unnecessary. Joachim's stats are nothing particularly spectacular, but let's talk about his best case scenario. 6-star limit burst, AoE 3-turn 30% damage reduction, AoE 850% HP heal with a 6x mod split over 3 turns, 10 MP AoE heal with a 0.3x mod split over 3 turns, and at least he gives 124% defense and spirit while singing for 3 turns? That's really, really bad. Spells, he gets Cure-Aja, Cure, Esuna, and hey, he gets Dispel, but if he's singing, he's not going to be dispelling anything. His songs are kind of a bunch of combos where essentially you get some good healing over multiple turns, but in general, when you're just looking at it, there are a lot of if used last turn, if used last turn. He also has an available on turn 1, 2-turn cooldown, increased potency of the next turn's song. Yeah. He does have a couple of things, you know, use 2-turn AoE 200% limit burst fill rate, else. Like, they're all combo attacks, and they're just not worth it. There are so many better bards, and CG Nickel already blows this guy out of the water. And I'm already a bigger fan of Lunera than CG Nickel, so yeah, this unit's bad. Just bad. It's bad. And it's not even on a, thank God it's, I guess, on an unmemorable unit, as I've been led to believe. I even did some research. This unit just not a big part of FF11, so at least he's just kind of mediocrity on a unit nobody's going to really care about. So now, and apologies, I could not find a 7-star for the time of this recording because nobody on my friends list, and not me, are pulling on this banner. That should tell you something right there. So we're going to talk about Shadow Lord, one of the... Well, he's the second worst sprite on this banner. He is generally boring to look at. His animations are incredibly stiff. And he's just not that interesting. So this guy is unpotted. And by the way, if you were wondering, Joachim was also unpotted, just in case you were wondering about those potential stats. So let's talk about this guy. We'll take a look at what he is equipped. And to make a point, I always thought the Shadow Lord was very big, so he was using a greatsword. But it turns out that Shadow Lord is all about swords. Okay, alright, I guess. So this gives you an idea of basically kind of the build you can get. You're getting dual hand here, but even at 6-star max with all of this, he can't even break the 1,000. Because swords, there just aren't that great yet until Lightning gets her super TMR. So what about him? Well, his Trust Mastery is a 30% attack when equipped with a sword, 30% attack equipped with a helmet. So basically Duke's TMR, but for swords instead of spears. But at least Dragoons show some promise on the future. I guess you could give this to Lightning to give her a 60% boost. That might not be bad, but that puts him at TMR fodder. Now, his limit burst at max at a 7-star, because we're only interested in the best here. 900% AoE, 1-hit physical attack, ignoring 50% defense, so 1800, pretty good for a single hit, basically a chain finisher. And 80% chance to OHKO, basically just kill the enemy. But since all bosses are essentially immune, and it would only be a mistake if they weren't, it's pretty useless, and in general there are much better chain finishers out there. I'm thinking of Cloud and Squall for some reason. So yeah, let's talk about his abilities. Well, he has some abilities that are essentially combo into one another. He gives himself Sword Mastery, which is kind of nice. He gets a single target MP drain and gives himself some boosts. 30% HP, 3-turn, 150% attack after HP dropped below 50%, so he's kind of a self-damaging unit. What else? He has natural 100% dark resistance, which is nice, some extra 30% attack. He gives himself a 30% physical damage reduction and heals himself for 3 turns, which is kind of nice. What about his ultimate attacks? Well, if he uses a move last turn, then he can use a 60% HP loss, 1800% AoE 1-hit dark physical attack. Else, it's only lose 60% HP, 720% AoE dark attack. This is not great because it's pigeon-held to dark resistance, so if you're fighting an enemy that is good against dark, this is kind of useless. And he's killing himself, which is giving himself a boost, but he's still killing himself. And another move he can use is if he uses one move, particularly last turn, then he gets a lose 30%, 1300% single target, 8 hit at 10 frames physical attack. Otherwise, same HP loss, 520%. Not great. His Trust Mastery ability is he gets 100% resistance to all ailments, going to speak properly, and 100% extra modifier to all of his abilities. But, I mean, the ailment resistance is nice for a damage dealer, but other than that, it's just not special. His cooldown ability is a self 30% target HP damage, and self 2-turn 250%, and self minus 50% debuff, and heals himself split over a couple of turns. So he essentially hurts himself to heal himself to give himself a boost, but also a debuff. Okay, he has an evade attacks for max 2 for 3 turns, and gives himself an auto revive. He gets a plus 100% when equipped with attack. These are so confusing to read. 100% equipped attack when two-handing a one-handed weapon, and 30% equipped attack when dual-wielding. So you have choices how you want to build him, but neither are super fantastic, kind of just split, and no new abilities. And his last chance is a 50% chance to ignore 3 fatal attacks when above 40%. So since all of his abilities basically don't drop him that far, he could be quite a survivable unit. But in general, there are just better damage dealers and better chain finishers, I think, than this guy. And I don't need to name a few, but we'll go through and show off some of these units' animations so that you can see them and see if you like them. So let's use his dark attack. Why not? We're not even going to max it out. Oh god, he's hurting himself. I mean, he killed one of them. For a damage dealer in his own event, doesn't feel that good. Even though I will admit we are on the 40 energy one. Thank goodness we have Lunera here. Also no bonus units. So here's a question. Can he kill himself? No, but he also just doesn't seem to do that much damage. And 10 frames is not in the Holy Explosion family, and this coming off of just the Dragon Quest event where we got E-Stark. E-Stark was a massively superior damage dealer who could also work in part with other chainers, particularly that one guy. What was his name? He's kind of famous in Brave Exvius. Oh right, Orlando. Whereas I'm not even convinced that he could necessarily, well, maybe he could chain with Titus, because I think Titus is in that 10 hit frame. But would you really want this as opposed to 2 Tituses or some of the other options? Probably not. Long story short, I just don't think that either Joachim or Shadow Lord are great units. Joachim is especially bad, but at least he's fairly easy to get for, you know, the Mog King rewards. You know, for getting the currency. Shadow Lord as a general 7-star unit, you know, he has some good stuff, but he is a very self-conscious unit with not great animations and a generally not great looking sprite. So unless you're a really die-hard fan, you can probably safely skip this guy. Thankfully, there was one other 5-star unit on this banner that was worth a little bit more talking about. So we'll be back in a minute in the next video sometime to talk about the other 5-star unit. Till then, I'll see you next time.